The cockpit door swung open, and they were both unconscious. It was supposed to be an ordinary flight. Flight 729, from New York to London, cruising smoothly at 37,000 feet. Passengers were sipping coffee, watching movies, and flipping through magazines. And then, it happened. The intercom crackled. There was silence. Then chaos. Both pilots were unconscious. The aircraft was flying blind. And among the terrified passengers was a young woman named Emily Carter. She wasn't a pilot. She didn't work for the airline. She was just flying home. But when no one else stood up, she walked toward the cockpit, with every eye watching. Even the air marshal froze in disbelief at what she was about to do. Meet Emily, the girl who loved the sky. Emily Carter, 28 years old. A flight simulator enthusiast. Daughter of a retired Air Force pilot. She had dreamed of flying since she was a child, sitting in her dad's lap as he told stories of jet engines and cockpit chaos. But life had other plans. She never made it to flight school. Money was tight. Her mom got sick, and her dream took a back seat. Still, she never stopped learning. In her spare time, she logged hundreds of hours on advanced flight simulators. Read manuals. Watch training videos. She could name every button in a Boeing 737 cockpit. But until that day, it was just a hobby. She never imagined she'd be the only one who could save 211 lives at 37,000 feet. Panic in the sky. It began with a simple drink service. Nothing unusual. Then the flight attendant knocked on the cockpit door to deliver coffee, and got no response. She knocked again. Nothing. She used the emergency code, opened the door, and screamed. Both pilots were slumped in their seats. Oxygen masks dangled. No movement. No sound. A passenger with medical training rushed in, but it was too late. They were alive, but unconscious. A suspected case of food poisoning or chemical exposure. Panic spread fast. Is anyone here a pilot? The crew asked over the intercom. Silence. Then, one hand went up. It was Emily. I'm not a licensed pilot, but I know how to fly this plane. Gasps. Doubts. But also hope. The crew led her to the cockpit. The air marshal, a tall, stone-faced man in a suit, followed close behind. He didn't say a word. Just watched. This moment would test everything Emily had ever learned. Into the cockpit. No turning back. Emily sat in the left seat, hands trembling but eyes sharp. The cockpit was overwhelming. Blinking lights, warning tones, pressure all around. She grabbed the radio. This is passenger Emily Carter in control of Flight 729. Both pilots are unconscious. Requesting emergency assistance. Air traffic control responded immediately. Calm but serious. Copy that, Emily. We're going to guide you step by step. You've got this. The crew secured the cockpit. The air marshal stood behind her, arms crossed, quietly observing. He didn't interfere. Just watched. And slowly, Emily took control. She stabilized the altitude, calmed the autopilot, checked fuel levels. Everything she'd practiced in simulation now became terrifyingly real. Every decision mattered. Every second counted. The final descent. ATC guided her toward Heathrow Airport. The skies were clear, a miracle. But now came the hardest part, landing. Emily, reduce throttle. Begin descent. Flaps to 15 degrees. She followed every instruction like a soldier. Sweat dripped down her forehead. The plane was heavy. Every bump felt like a heart attack. Landing gear down. Copy. In the cabin, passengers clutched their seats. Some were praying. Some were crying. The crew gave one final announcement. A civilian is landing this plane. Please remain calm and seated. She's doing everything she can. Back in the cockpit, alarms blared as she neared the runway. The runway lights appeared through the windshield. The plane descended. 500 feet. 100. 50. And then, touchdown. Slight bounce. Then tires gripped the runway. She had landed it. Applause erupted throughout the cabin. The air marshal finally spoke. You just did something most trained people couldn't. That was extraordinary. Emily smiled, tears in her eyes. The girl who saved Flight 729. The story made international headlines. Passenger lands Boeing 737 after pilots collapse mid-flight. Emily Carter became an overnight hero. She was interviewed by every major news outlet. She was offered honorary pilot certification. Aviation schools reached out with full scholarships. But she stayed humble. "I didn't save those people because I was a hero," she said. "I did it because no one else could, and I knew I had to try." The air marshal, who later confirmed he had logged thousands of flight hours himself, admitted on camera, "I stood back because I knew she was the better pilot in that moment." Emily now trains future pilots, not in simulators, but in real cockpits. She reminds them that preparation, courage, and focus can turn a nobody into a hero in seconds. And to this day, every time she flies commercial, passengers whisper, "Is that her? The one who landed the plane?" Yes, it is. Emily Carter, the woman who proved that sometimes, when you're the only one left to act, you become the one everyone depends on.